Hello students, welcome to the online practical session of electronics. In this session, we are going to see the introduction to the electronics lab. So totally we will be having 16 number of experiments in your first year. I have already discussed about how the 100 marks will be divided into 70 and 30. 70 marks will be allotted for your theory exams and 30 marks will be allotted for your practical exams. So in this session we are going to see the list of experiments what we are going to study in our first PUC electronics lab. So coming to the very first experiment, it is the color coding of resistors. Resistors are one of the most important component what we are going to use in almost all of the circuits. That can either be an electrical circuit. Resistors anta helida takshana they are very small in size, and those values will not be printed on the resistors. Instead, the values of those resistors will be indicated through color bands, and 4 or 5 bands of colors will be present. Depending upon those colors, we are going to identify its resistance value. So in the very first experiment, we are going to see the color coding of resistors. Coming to the second experiment, that is Ohm's law. We have already studied about some of these topics in our theory classes itself. So how the voltage and current will behave, or how the current will vary when we are varying the voltage. In this experiment, we are going to vary voltage in small steps and note down its corresponding current value for the given resistor. So one resistor will be given of some value that can either be 1 kilo ohm or 2 kilo ohm or 1.5 kilo ohm or some other values. For that given resistor, we are going to connect a voltage source through which we will be varying the voltage, or through which we will be applying the input signal. So for the corresponding current which flows in the circuit will be measured. According to Ohm's law, we are having this formula V is equal to I into R. So the resistance value will be fixed. Then I am varying V anta helidre, obviously the current will also vary. So we are going to see the relationship between the voltage and current in the second experiment, that is Ohm's law. Coming to the third experiment, that is verification of Kirchhoff's voltage law, KVL. Even this is studied in our theory classes. So what we are going to do is, we are going to take 2 or 3 number of resistors and 1 voltage sources, and by varying the voltage sources or by varying the voltage in the voltage source, we are going to see how the voltage will be divided among the resistors. Suppose I am going to take equal number of resistance. I am going to take 3 resistors whose values are same anta helidana. Then if I am applying a voltage of 10 volts, that 10 volts will be equally divided to all of those resistors because the resistance values are same. But if I am going to take the resistors with different resistance value, then the voltage will be divided in a different manner. So how exactly this KVL statement holds good, that we are going to conduct in this experiment, that is verification of Kirchhoff's voltage law. Coming to the next experiment, that is Kirchhoff's current law, which states that it is an algebraic sum of the currents entering the node is equal to algebraic sum of the currents leaving the node. So we are going to conduct this experiment. As I told you, in the KVL experiment, we are going to see how the voltage will be divided among the resistors when we are going to take same value of resistance, or when the different values of resistance are considered. But here in this experiment, we are going to see how the current will be divided into different branches. Different branches might contain same value of resistance, or different branches might contain different values of resistance. So we are going to see that the total current entering one node must be equal to the sum of the currents leaving that particular node. So that will be done experimentally in this experiment, that is verification of Kirchhoff's current law. The next experiment is forward characteristics of semiconductor diode. We know that there are 3 types of materials. One is conductors, insulators and semiconductors. Conductors which allows current to pass through, insulators which does not allow current to pass through, semiconductor whose conductivity lies between the conductors and the semiconductors. So whenever I am using that particular semiconductor device in any of our circuit, we have to know the behavior of that particular semiconductor device. So, in order to know the behavior of that semiconductor device, we are going to conduct some of the experiments, out of which this forward characteristics of semiconductor diode, how this semiconductor diode behaves when the forward biasing is done. What is biasing anta helidre, like applying external voltage to the semiconductor devices is biasing. So, what happens when the voltage is applied to a semiconductor diode, or how the current and the voltage will vary, that will be studied in this particular experiment graphically. So, with the help of a graph, we are going to study the behavior of voltage and the current of one particular semiconductor device. Coming to the next experiment, that is characteristics of Zener diode. So, here we are talking about the forward characteristics. Biasing anta helidaga, there are two types of biasing. One is forward biasing, the other one is reverse biasing. In the fifth experiment, we are just going to study the forward characteristics. That is, we are going to apply the forward bias to a semiconductor device. If I am going to consider this as a semiconductor device, for this semiconductor device, I am going to apply the forward biasing condition. For that forward bias, how our semiconductor material will behave, that will be studied in this fifth experiment. Coming to this sixth experiment, characteristics of semiconductor diode. Semiconductor diode is one of the types of semiconductor devices which is most widely used as a voltage regulator. Yes, voltage regulator. So, how this semiconductor device or how this Zener diode will behave when forward biasing condition is applied to a Zener diode, or when reverse biasing condition is applied to a Zener diode. So, both the types of biasing conditions will be studied in this experiment, that is characteristics of Zener diode. These Zener diodes are used as voltage regulators anta helidaga. These are most widely used in voltage stabilizer, which helps to regulate the voltage. Coming to the next experiment, that is half wave rectifier. Rectifier andrenu, conversion of AC to DC. These days, even the DCs are playing a major role in our day-to-day life, because we need DC in order to charge our mobile phone. So, the power supply which is coming to our homes or which is present in the plug point is AC, but I need something which converts that AC to DC. So, we are going to use an adapter through which we are going to convert the AC into DC, and that DC will be applied to our mobile phone, which helps to charge our mobile battery. So, half wave rectifier in the sense, AC signals will be like this. It is a continuous waveform having both positive as well as negative half cycle. But half wave rectifier anta helidaga, only positive half cycles will be appearing at the input, at the output. So, we are going to get a waveform like this. But full wave rectifier andre, even the negative half cycles will be converted into positive half cycle. So, this is a continuous signal, this is a discontinuous signal. We are going to study the difference between half wave rectifier and a full wave rectifier in these two experiments, that is experiment number 7 and 8. Apart from that, we are also going to see the efficiency of these rectifier circuit. Obviously, half wave rectifier is not giving me a continuous signal. Then the efficiency of this is very much less compared to the full wave rectifier efficiency. And we are also going to study about what is called as a ripple factor in these experiments. So, what is that ripple factor? That is nothing but DC and the takshana. If I am going to consider this as a waveform where I am plotting between time period and voltage anta helidaga, for DC I have to get a straight line, but here I am not getting a straight line. I am getting a varying or a pulsating DC. Why I am calling this as DC? Because I am having only positive values. Ade waveform na ee thara barade. This is the time period, this is the voltage. If I write the waveform like this, then this is also a DC signal, but it is called as a pulsating DC signal, which is having a negative value, because this is the zero axis line. Above the zero axis line, the values will be positive. Below the zero axis line, the values will be negative. So, I am not getting a continuous straight line like this, but I am getting a pulsating signal. and these pulsating signals can be avoided by using what is called as capacitors. So these capacitors are called as filters. So in these two experiments, we are going to see the difference between the output waveforms before and after connection of a capacitor, that is before and after connection of a filter circuit. So what happens if the capacitor is not connected, that is what happens if filter is not connected, and what happens when filter is connected, those two differences will be completely studied in these two experiments. Coming to the next experiment, that is realization of OR gate using discrete components. So realization of OR gate, AND gate, NOT gate, NAND, NOR, XOR, XNOR. There are a number of logic gates which are playing a major role in our digital life. So what exactly is this OR gate? How this OR gate will work? That will be completely studied with the help of discrete components. With the help of discrete components and we are going to use the transistors and the diodes. With the help of these transistors and diodes, how we can realize this OR gate, AND gate, NAND gate, NOT gate will be completely studied from 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th experiments. We are going to study in our theory classes what exactly is AND gate, OR gate, NAND, NOR, and all of these experiments are conducted with the help of diodes as well as the transistors. Along with that, we are also going to use some of the passive components, that is the resistors. Coming to this 13th experiment, verification of Thevenin's theorem. So in our second chapter, we have studied about many of the theorems like Thevenin's theorem, maximum power transfer theorem, superposition theorem. So out of these three theorems, we are going to practically prove the Thevenin's theorem. In Thevenin's theorem, the equivalent circuit plays a major role, that is the end diagram is very important, where I will be having VThevenin to which RThevenin will be connected in series and the load resistance will be connected. After connecting the load resistor, we are going to see what is the load current and the load voltage. So in this experiment, we are going to calculate VThevenin experimentally, and we are going to calculate RThevenin experimentally, and we are going to connect those two in series with each other. Later, we will be connecting the load resistor across those 2 points and calculate the load current as well as the load voltage. So if you are having any kind of confusions in this Thevenin's theorem, after conducting this experiment, your confusions will never exist. So verification of Thevenin's theorem, that is the 13th experiment. Coming to this 14th experiment, that is RC low pass filter. Here R stands for resistor and C stands for capacitor. So with the help of these two components, we are going to design a circuit what is called as low pass filter. What do you mean by filter? Filter is nothing but it removes the unwanted things. So here RC low pass filter, with the help of these two components, we are going to capture some desired frequency signals, removing the undesired frequency signals. Suppose, let me consider an example of a mobile phone. At present, if I want to listen for 90.8 FM, then I have to remove that 92.7 frequency band and 93.5 frequency band, and our mobile phone must be tuned to such a way that it will capture only 90.8 FM signals. So I am filtering out 92.7 and 93.5. So there, for tuning purpose, we are going to use this RC low pass filters. Tuning in the sense, we are not going to use these tuning circuits only for our mobile phones in order to capture the FM signals. There are a number of other applications in broadcasting stations irbodu, military applications irbodu, athwa radar irbodu, sonar irbodu. In all these kinds of applications, we are going to receive some amount of some desired frequency signals, filtering out or removing the other undesired frequency signals, and all those things will be done with the help of one circuit what is called as the filtering circuit. So one of the basic filtering circuit is the RC low pass filter circuit, which allows only the low frequency signals and remove the high frequency signal. That we are going to study and in this particular experiment, and we will also plot a graph through which you will get a clear idea about this low pass filter. Coming to this 15th experiment, that is measurement using oscilloscope, which is also called as CRO, cathode ray oscilloscope. With the help of this CRO, we can measure the voltage, we can measure the amplitude, we can measure the time period, we can measure the frequency. So how to take the readings, or how to take the frequencies reading, time period reading, all these things, all these basic things will be studied in the 15th experiment, because in your second PUC we will be conducting many of the experiment in which the output will be seen with the help of this CRO. So here in first PUC you are just going to study the basics of this CRO, how to vary the time period, or how to vary the voltage, how to connect the CRO probe to the output. All those basic things will be studied in this 15th experiment. Coming to the last experiment, that is Zener diode as a voltage regulator. As I have already told you here, characteristics of this Zener diode. This Zener diode is widely used as a voltage regulator. So that experiment will be conducted here. That is, we are going to see how the voltage will be regulated with the help of a Zener diode. We are going to see how a constant voltage will be maintained by the regulator circuit, and how a constant voltage will be given to the load. Load in the sense our TV irbodu athwa ನಮ್ಮ ರೆಫ್ರಿಜರೇಟರ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ದ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಸೈಡ್, ಅಂದರೆ ಲೈನ್ಸಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೌ ದ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡೆಡ್ ಬೈ ದ ಸ್ಟೆಬಿಲೈಸರ್, that will be studied in this Zener diode as voltage regulator. So these are some of the experiments what we are going to conduct in our first PUC. So in all the lab sessions, what we are going to do is, we will be doing connections according to the circuit diagram. Once when the connections are checked, only then we will be turn oning the power supply. If the connections have gone wrong, then the apparatus will be damaged. So we are going to do the connections, we are just going to verify whether the connections are correct or not. So you people, that is students, will just do the connection, will ask the consult lecturers to check for the connection. Only if it is correct, then the apparatus will be turned on. After conducting the experiment, I mean to say after taking the different readings, then we'll just shut down the system, shut down the apparatus. Shut down the apparatus and whichever the apparatus is turned on, that will be turned off by bringing back the knobs which has been varied from 0 to 15 volts irbodu athwa 0 to 5 volts. Eshtaru bere bere steps li ನಾವು readings na ತಗೋತೀವಿ. So after turning all those knobs to 0th position, then we'll turn off the power buttons of the apparatus. Then we are just going to remove the connections, whatever it is done, which is one of the most important job of every individual. That is removing the connections after conducting the experiment and turning off the power buttons of each and every apparatus. So these are some of the list of experiment. Now we are going to see how the 30 marks will be divided. So this is how marks will be allotted in your practical exams. So total marks for your practical exam is 30. Out of 30, separate marks will be given for your record, initial write-up, connection and all those things. For your record, 6 marks will be allotted. For initial write-up, it is 6 marks. Initial write-up antandrenu, as soon as you come for your exam, as soon as you enter the lab exam, what you have to do is you have to submit your record. After submitting your record, you have to pick a paper in which one of the experiment will be written on that paper, or one of the experiment will be pasted on that paper. So out of 16 experiment, only one experiment you have to conduct, and out of those 16 experiment, color coding of resistors and measurement using oscilloscope will not be given. So totally you have to study only 14 experiment. So out of 14 experiments, you will be getting only one experiment, and after you pick a paper and after knowing which experiment has come for you, you have to write the aim of that experiment, circuit diagram, tabular column, and any of the formulas if it is there, and any of the nature of the graph if present, and the result. Result in the sense you have to just write the heading and leave it blank. So after conducting the experiment, you have to fill all those columns, like tabular column must be filled and result must be filled. But as soon as you write the aim, apparatus, required tabular column, circuit diagram and all those things, you have to show it to the concerned lecturers who are present in the exam, that is the examiners, and if it is correct, only then the examiners will allow you to conduct the exam. So what you have to do is you have to do the connection. After doing the connections, you have to show that connections to the examiners. If the connections are correct, only then the examiner will allow you to turn on the power supply. After turning on the power supply, you have to take the readings. After taking the readings, you have to show those readings to the examiners, like you have to show any of the two readings to the examiners. Once it is correct, only then you have to turn it off and remove the connections. So that initial write-up, that is before doing the connections, whatever you are going to write, that is aim, aim, circuit diagram, tabular column, all those things is nothing but the initial write-up, which will be carrying 6 marks. And connection and conducting, that is the way how you are going to connect the circuit, the way how you are going to arrange the apparatus which is given for you. Depending upon that, the 6 marks will be allotted. That is, the connections must be simple and very much clear. For that, a separate 6 marks will be allotted, and if you are having any kind of formulas in any of the experiment, separate 2 marks will be allotted for that. And Viva, after the conduction of the experiment, separate Viva questions will be asked for each student, and for answering all of the questions 4 marks will be allotted for Viva. And result anta ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ, after conducting the experiment, I told you, you have to fill the result. So fill the result anta ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ, there you have to mention the units if it is present. If you are not writing the units, then you are going to lose marks. So result will also carry 2 marks, where we are going to see whether you have clearly mentioned the units and all those things. Coming to this last one, that is the calculation. So in each and every experiment there will be calculation part, and that calculation part will also be carrying a separate marks of 4, and totally the marks allotted for a practical exam is 30. So I hope you are very much clear with this introduction session, whatever I have explained. In the next session, I will be coming with one simple experiment. Thank you.